Welcome to College Smart Radio, helping you understand the true cost of college and tackle the runaway costs of financing a college education. College Smart Radio is hosted by Beatrice Schultz, a certified financial planner and founder of Westface College Planning. Now, here's your host for College Smart Radio, Beatrice Schultz.
The price of new college textbooks has been rising about 6% a year. Publishers have been able to drive up textbook prices because students have to buy whatever textbooks they've been assigned. About 1 in 4 first-year students and about 1 in 3 seniors actually did not purchase required academic materials because of cost, according to a 2012 study by the nonprofit National Survey of Student Engagement. Students today also have wider access to a wider array of options, including buying used books, digital textbooks, and borrowing books. On today's College Smart Radio program, we'll be discussing textbook pricing, trends in the market, and how a new company is helping students shop for textbooks and helping out the community at the same time. Hi, I'm Beatrice Schultz. Welcome to our weekly show, College Smart Radio, where we help you tackle the runaway costs of a college education. Our show is about bringing up-to-date and practical advice to parents and students to help them make the right choices when dealing with the cost of a college education and college selection. With some private schools costing over $60,000 a year, a UC costing close to $35,000, and a California State University running $25,000, parents and students need more help than ever. We bring you that help by sharing ways to pay less, tapping into financial aid, and prioritizing your source of funds to make sure you get through the most expensive years of your life. Every resource that a student utilizes that leads them to a positive college experience increases the likelihood that the student will graduate with a degree and the likelihood that they'll obtain that degree in the targeted 4 years. The money they spend on books is part of that expense that they have to manage. Based on my own education and experience, I share my insights with you week in and week out. I'm a certified financial planner and the owner of the San Carlos-based college planning business, Westface College Planning. I host educational workshops on college planning and consult with parents on a daily basis. And I bring in experts in many areas of the college process, from counselors, financial aid officers, student coaches, business leaders, parents, and even students. You'll learn firsthand the ins and outs of college selection, how to pay for college, and how to survive financially. In addition to our show, you'll find lots of powerful information at our website, collegesmartradio.com. Let's get into today's show. Today we'll be talking about the college textbook market. Joining me on today's show are the co-founders of Gremlin Books, a company born out of sensing the need to fill a void to offer a no-cost, efficient search engine to combat the rising expense of college textbooks. As a meta search engine, Gremlin pulls from countless known and unknown sources for the purchase or rental of books, displaying in seconds a broad range of choices, and then also provides a portal to buy it back. Rob Parrish and Greg Nowotny are joining us by a phone from Nashville. Rob is a native Nashvillian. He graduated from Belmont University in Nashville with a BBA in the music business and spent the first 10 years working for Sony, Columbia Records, and the Country Music Association. From music, his career moved to Nashville's largest industry, healthcare. He's now a co-founder of Gremlin Books. As he says, thinking outside the box has always been in my DNA, so Gremlin fits right in that wheelhouse. Rob is joining us on one line via phone from Nashville. Hi, Rob. Welcome to College Smart Radio.
Hey, how are you, Beatrice?
Great. Thanks for joining us. Gremlin's other co-founder is Craig Nowotny, and Craig was born and raised in Denver, Colorado, moved to Nashville 9 years ago. He earned his undergrad and MBA both in finance from Regis University in Denver. He describes himself as a serial entrepreneur with a passion for all things outdoors, and he's striving to make a difference for himself, his family, as well as the surrounding community. Craig is also joining us on another line from Nashville. Hi, Craig. Welcome to College Smart Radio.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, you've got now all three of us are on the line. So you guys both come from very different backgrounds. How did you get together and become experts on college textbooks?
Well, I'll answer that by just saying I think sometimes the greatest partnerships end up being friendships first. And shortly after Craig moved to the Nashville area, we met. We were neighbors, became friends through our family, and as a result had the occasion to see each other frequently and bounce off each other our respective entrepreneurial ideas.
Great. I love it. That's a perfect way and a good start for a business. All right. So let's talk about textbook pricing.
Well, textbook pricing, as I think you alluded to in your introduction, is something that's really very nebulous on the back of many textbooks, there is no quote-unquote retail price, and it's basically whatever the retailer or bookstore, whatever the market will bear. And I think it's that lack of transparency that has allowed this to be a snowball rolling downhill, if you will, that from a pricing perspective, the book publishers have been able to continually increase the pricing, and if the schools and the professors endorse this book, then the students have no choice but to pay whatever the price is. And school bookstores are probably most notorious because obviously they have the brick and mortars there on the campus to provide what the students need in the most convenient way by being right there. But like lots of things in life, if it's convenient, you're probably paying a premium for it, and sometimes you don't find out what that cost is until the 11th hour, either due to the professors many times not making a decision on the textbook that they choose until right before school begins, not giving the students an opportunity to do any shopping, or the fact that they just know that they have you as a captive audience, and you know that they have the book, and you don't want to take a chance on going to the outside and see if somebody else has it because you're under the gun to get a book as soon as possible. So I think it's been a confluence of events, but fortunately, lots of the country is getting tired of these continuing increases in education costs and are pushing back. And as a result, we hope that we can be a small solution to some of the increasing costs.
So for some of our listeners who really have some high school kids and they haven't gone to college yet, how much is a new textbook?
Oh, gosh. Textbooks can range anywhere from $50 to several $100, depending upon what you're majoring in,
sure.
Which edition of the book it is. So it's a very broad range. Craig has had lots of experience because part of the idea for Gremlin is a result of Craig's hands-on experience from dealing with it himself. I think it might be helpful for Craig to explain that.
Sure, Craig, do you want to share with us? And maybe also kind of what would a student expect to spend in a year on textbooks?
Well, I think, I don't know the exact source, but it's a quick Google would find it. The average student's spending anywhere from $700 to $1,200 on textbooks every year. And I know in my last class in my MBA, cost management textbook was $197.
Yeah.
And the buyback value from the bookstore was $3. So unfortunately, I'm still lugging around a 362-page cost management textbook. So.
It was better to be a little wall candy than to bother getting the return money back from the bookstore.
Absolutely. I'm going to get my value no matter how long it takes back from that book, so for sure.
So what are the alternatives?
We see Gremlin as really hopefully one of the major players out there, but there's Chegg, there's Book Renter, there's all these other alternatives you can go to, but not every one has every book at the best price. And so you can go to Amazon, you can go to half.com, you can go to Chegg, and Chegg's the big rental place. But you don't know. So if you're on Chegg, you don't know if Book Renter has one for less, or if you're on Amazon, you don't know if Half has one unless you search all these other sites. So there are a multitude of other book vendors out there, similar to what we do, but what we do is aggregate all of them together and say you can look at Chegg and Book Renter in the same spot and say, oh, this book is $5 less. I had no idea.
So the model that you guys have at Gremlin is similar to kind of how Kayak works and goes out to many different sites and pulls the prices for, I guess, the same flight, but you would pull it for the same book?
That's exactly the concept. Yeah, the aggregation of data has really exploded in the last, I would say, 10 years, and it's everywhere from healthcare to textbooks to travel plans, wherever you want to find it. Companies are doing it, and our thought was, hey, let's just provide the information to the user and let them make the decision, and that's kind of what the platform is.
So with the Gremlin platform, students can research buying as well as renting? You have both of those available right now, or that's your plan to have both available?
We definitely have both available, and we're adding new sources every semester. And so right now we've got ebooks, Kindle version, whatever you want to get. We've got 4 or 5 different sources for rental, 4 or 5, 6 different sources for buying, and each of these sources are again aggregates of other big groups. So of the 3 sources, there may be 300 textbook stores inside. So we really did a lot of research in building a very comprehensive environment for students. But and on one screen you can see rental, buying, ebook, even audiobook if it's available, certain chapters if they're available.
So if any of our listeners are sitting next to their computer right now, they can go to Gremlin Books. Is it booksplural.com?
Yes.
Okay, and they can follow along with us. So let's talk a little bit. You said you can also search for ebooks. So there's even competitive pricing in the electronic book market?
Well, it may not be competitive, but it's out there.
Okay, so it's different sources.
We're not throttling anything. We're just saying, hey, so for example, if you go to our site and you can search if you go to the text box, the text search, you can type in whatever ISBN or title or subject. You type in history, and there's an ebook for chemistry you want to buy. It'll take you to that store and you can buy it. So, or if you want to get my wife loves paper books, so she chooses paper books.
So they could put in one ISBN and be able to see it as an ebook, or if it's available by rental, or if it's new or used, it would all identify the same book that might be available anywhere on the internet or any of the sources that you guys have access to. Correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
We're not real quick to add one just because it's out there. We're waiting to see if it's stable, and we're waiting to see if it proves itself out. So there may be other stores that we're not picking up, and we're just not ready to carry them yet because we don't want to tarnish our name if something were to go awry.
If you've just joined us, my guests on today's College Smart Radio program are Rob Parrish and Craig Nowotny, who are co-founders of Gremlin Books, which offers a no-cost, efficient search engine to combat the rising expense of college textbooks. We'll be right back after a quick break on College Smart Radio.
For more information on today's topic, visit collegesmartradio.com or call area code 650-587-1559. College Smart Radio continues in moments on AM 1220 KDOW. Contact Beatrice Schultz at collegesmartradio.com or call 650-587-1559. Now back to College Smart Radio with your host Beatrice Schultz on AM 1220 KDOW.
Welcome back to College Smart Radio, where we help you tackle the runaway costs of college. I'm Beatrice Schultz. We all know that college is expensive and will most likely be some of the most costly years for a family. Understanding how to navigate the college costs is a smart thing to know. To help families be on this radio show, I host community workshops live and via webinar several times a month that explain the costs of various colleges, how the financial aid system works, and things to consider to prepare yourself for this tremendous expense. To learn more and reserve your seat, go to my website, collegesmartradio.com. If you've just joined us, I've been talking with my guests, Rob Parrish and Craig Nowotny, who are co-founders of Gremlin Books, which is a no-cost, efficient search engine to combat the rising expense of college textbooks. Right before the break, we were talking, or I started to introduce the topic about the trends towards the ebooks, and I just wanted to share kind of what are you seeing, or what is the emerging ebook market?
Well, it's interesting. When we first began Gremlin, we were asking ourselves that very question because we thought, gosh, if the industry is headed towards ebooks, then do we really have much of a business model here to promote? And as we began doing our due diligence, then we came across a lot of very compelling information that said, contrary to what a lot of people may think, when it comes to textbooks, ebooks is not being adopted very quickly. And when you really look at the data that's out there, you find that when it comes to textbooks, students, people love to have something tactile in their hands to be able to write in the margins, highlight, flip back and forth. Those are things that if you're reading the latest New York Times bestseller novel, if you will, that don't really matter. But when you're dealing with a textbook, people want to have something that they can hold. We have as one of our advisors a gentleman that consults over 700 colleges and universities on a variety of topics. And he was very helpful in our company formation at giving us some very valuable guidance along these lines, and said, you know what, Craig and Rob, if you came to me 5 years ago and said you want to do Gremlin, I would have said, you know what, ebooks is coming down the pike and it's going to completely change the face of what you're trying to do. But today, the adoption rate has been so slow for the reasons that I just mentioned that we don't feel that it's going to impact our model whatsoever. Obviously, it is a very small part of the marketplace, but it's growing at a very, very small rate.
That's really interesting and in some weird way comforting, because it does seem at some point it would be hard to, if I think of going back to my studying years, to not have, now I was all about used textbooks back then, that was the best way to save money, but to not have the physical textbook when you're trying to study or review and go back and look at those chapters. I agree. I think but I was wondering if the younger kids were more comfortable to do that because they're so much more comfortable navigating online. All right, I guess in electronic format.
Yeah, and as you just referenced, you would buy books used, and the trend that's come about in the last 5 or 6 years is book rental. That's become a huge piece of the market, which of course we tap into and offer when you're searching for a book to see if that's an option that you'd like to pursue. The interesting thing about book rental, though, not that different from, say, leasing a car, is that it's great if you're not going to in any way harm that book. But when you return the book, if it's not returned in a similar condition to you got it, then received it, then you're going to be penalized and may end up paying an amount that may be close to what you would have paid if you had purchased the book. So kind of the caveat emptor, buyer beware on the book rental angle. It's very attractive financially, but there's also a downside.
So what's the trend that you're seeing in the rental books? Are people renting, or is that?
Oh, absolutely.
They are, and they're managing to keep them clean, or half of them are disappointed because they're not able to return them? I wonder what the stats are.
We don't really know what the end result numbers are in terms of how many folks are renting books and returning them in great condition and not having to pay the penalty that I referenced earlier. But the book rental market is absolutely growing by leaps and bounds. So it's a niche, and we offer it to all of our users, no different than buying a brand new book, buying a used book in varying conditions, or the ebooks.
What about the trend, or I don't want to call it a trend, but what about the possibility that professors are creating their own books and they've got a new version or a new issue that it's hard to find the used or rental book because every year the book feels new? I mean, have you read anything about that, or are professors starting to respect that and not always coming up with new books, or is that still an issue?
Yes, we are seeing that as a trend, but again, it's a very small part of the large market, and so I think no different than ebooks is something that many professors are choosing to do because they claim that there's no book out there that really matches up with what they want to teach, and so they will take a piece of one and a piece of another, and we hope that they're taking care of from a licensing copyright perspective, that aspect of it. But yeah, that's definitely another small part of the marketplace.
Well, thanks for sharing sort of the trends that are happening in the market. Tell me a little bit, or tell our listeners a little bit about Gremlin Books. Kind of what is your foundation, what's and your mission, and your vision, I guess, for the website and how it can help others.
Okay, well, it's kind of a long story, but I'll give you the condensed version. It really started when my wife went back to school. She was a stay-at-home mom for 8 years and decided to go back to school to get a second degree in nursing here in Nashville. And her first semester, the textbooks were $1,400.
Oh.
And for one semester. And again, these are medical books, or whatever the reason was. And as a finance major, I said, there's no way. And so, what I basically did was got 6 different windows of Chrome or whatever, Firefox open, and I went to each different store, put in all of the textbooks you needed, and said, okay, this one's cheaper here. And I built my cart that way. And I thought, there's got to be a better way to do this. And, after all this, I saved about $400, but it took me about, 4 or 5 hours to plug through and figure it out. And so that was really the genesis behind Gremlin and just why I thought, I just got through my master's program. I was like, I could have used this service, and I know, we had babysitters who were all college kids complaining about how expensive textbooks were. I thought, no, this is a better alternative, and so that's really how it started.
So it's a great need. Now, how can you offer it as a no-cost service to students that are looking? Well,
the great thing is, it's definitely free for anybody who wants to use it, and let your listeners know that we're not trying to get rich off one person, so that's why it's free.
Yeah.
I think the latest numbers I've read, there's 22 million college students, all buying about 5 books a semester, and so we're looking to get just a fractional cost, basically an affiliate fee from the sources that we refer our users to.
Sure.
And these are all built-in costs. If you go through Amazon and buy something, somebody is getting an affiliate fee. Either it's all Amazon or somebody who directed you there. And so if you go to our site, check the pricing, then go to Amazon, it's the exact same price. There's no markup whatsoever. And so we're basically looking at this as a high volume type thing. And if all 22 million use it, we probably would get rich right away, but obviously that's not going to happen. So
okay, great.
It's a long-term play for us.
Okay, thank you for sharing that and kind of understanding how the business works, because I think people are interested in that. And that's the truth when we're shopping for airline. And we care about what our out-of-pocket is, and ultimately try and spend the least amount of money along the way, and understand that people help us along the way to make that happen. But when I was reading a little bit on your website, you do talk about philanthropy a little bit and giving back to the community. Can you share some details about that?
Sure. Robert, you want to talk about that? Or is that me? Okay. Well, one of our, at least my passion is, and what we want to do with this business is to help kids who can't read get books, and get the books in the hands of kids who need them. And that's really we've partnered with Reading is Fundamental, or RIF, and we're trying to raise a certain amount of books every year. To give to them money so they can buy books, whatever works the best. So that's one area that we're working on. And, as this company grows, there'll be other educational areas that we want to dive into as far as tutoring or, I really am passionate about education. And so I think the more emphasis we can get on kids getting into college, the better. So that's kind of where that comes from.
Well, absolutely. And so when you're talking about, so are there any other kind of message? You've only got probably about a minute. Do you have any other specific message you'd like our listeners to hear about what they should be thinking about? And I'm going to send them all to gremlinbooks.com, but as far as the textbook market and any last thoughts?
Well, we just like to say that we appreciate everyone giving us a chance. We definitely save you a ton of time. We also think you'll save a ton of money, and yet it doesn't cost anything. And we are constantly improving the site, getting more and more sources. I would challenge anybody to find another source that has more sources than we do, and yet we've made it easier than anybody as well. So we just appreciate folks coming to us, trying us out. And hopefully, if you like what you see, tell your friends and family.
Well, thank you so much, Rob and Craig, for joining us today. Rob and Craig are the co-founders of Gremlin Books, and a link to their website, gremlinbooks.com, is available on collegesmartradio.com, as well as an article that they provided for our website. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, that wraps up another weekly show of College Smart Radio. We hope you picked up some new information today that helps you figure out ways to manage the runaway costs of college. This is Beatrice Schultz. Thanks for tuning into College Smart Radio. We look forward to sharing more helpful information with you next week.
You've been listening to College Smart Radio with certified financial planner Beatrice Schultz. If you have questions on today's topic, log on to collegesmartradio.com or call area code 650-587-1559. That's 650-587-1559. And join us next week at this time for another edition of College Smart Radio on AM 1220 KDOW.